Hello, welcome back to Big Fellas. It's my favourite type of episode today, Darren. We've got a weight loss story. 150 pounds. That's nearly 11 stone. That's not too shabby, is it?
No, that's a person. We've lost a person.
Literally a human being lost in
Yeah.
weight. And we're going international today as well. We're heading over to the States.
Brilliant. Mate, if only we were actually recording in the States, I'd be quite up for a cheeky holiday, to be quite honest.
Yeah, you know what? I think if this takes off, then we're jumping on a plane and we're doing this stateside.
Yeah.
You like
that? Yeah. Like that.
So, but no, I'm really excited to welcome on our guest today. His name is Halston Smith. He's lost over 10 stone, almost 11 stone. He's got a great story to share with us. And I can't wait to jump in. So shall we, let's get to it, shall we?
Yeah.
Halston Smith, hello. Welcome to Big Fellas. How are you, man?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah, we're absolutely delighted. We saw, I think I connected with you on a weight loss group online on Facebook. And I saw your story. I thought, this is fantastic. I've got to get you on the show. So, welcome.
Thank you again for having me. You ready for me to tell you how it happened?
Let's go. Let's dive straight in. So let's start. Tell me your start weight. Tell me your current weight and how you got there.
January 8th of 2025, I weighed 350 pounds. Today I'm at 200 pounds.
Wow. So literally in a year, we are talking.
It took me 1 year. Yeah.
That's crazy. That's, it's not a lot of time really, if you think about it, is it? That's a lot of, that's what we would call nearly a stone a month.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that consistency is crazy. Go on. What did you do? How did you do it?
So, November 2024, I was going to my son's basketball game. I was 350 plus probably then. And I remember walking up the stairs and I was getting winded and, I had open heart surgery 4 years ago. So I take blood pressure medicines and stuff like that. And I was getting lightheaded standing up and I'm like, oh man, I need to do something. Well, 2024, we all heard about that famous drug that's the miracle shot that's going around, GLP-1. I'm like, oh man, I want to get that. I've heard nothing but good things at the time, nothing but good things, so I go to the doctor. I'm like, hey, I need some help. I can't motivate myself to go to the gym. I heard about this new shot. Is this something you can help me out with? And she runs blood tests. And luckily everything came back great. Everything came back perfect. I couldn't complain even though I was upset. I wanted something to be wrong enough so I could get this free, easy drug because everyone loves convenience and easy is what I've learned this last year. So we had some conversations. I'm a father of 5. So I went home and we talked about it. It would have cost me like $900 a month. It just wasn't feasible. So I went home and moped around for a couple months until January 8th. A YouTube video came out and this guy got abs and he was doing this challenge. I'm like, well, I can join this challenge. And if anything, I can win a Tesla, not thinking I would actually win, but I did it. And I started learning how to count my calories. That's something like I've always been a yo-yo dieter. My whole life, I've been obese since I've been probably 12 years old. And I tried the keto diet, almost lost my gallbladder from that. I tried, I remember back in like 2018, it was, you got to eat 1,200 calories to get skinny. To get abs, 1,200 calorie was the magic number. And boy, was I wrong. Like knowing now, like pretty much what everyone would do is they would starve themselves until they would eventually give up. And if I would have ate 2,200 calories, I would have lost weight and probably been able to maintain, but I didn't know that yet. There wasn't a lot of information out there on the internet at the time. So now it's so much more available. So January 8th, I joined that competition. And then in the first 75 days, I lost 50 pounds. I got top 3 out of their 17,000 people. I got top 3.
Whoa.
I didn't win the Tesla, which I'm grateful I didn't because I might have quit if I did. Instead, I won a year of the app. I got free pre-workout, creatine, and protein for a year. Every month they send me a box. And They gave me the stuff to keep going. So I was like, all right, well, they gave me the stuff to keep going. And 2 weeks later, like, hey, we're going to do another 60-day summer shred. First place gets 10,000. I'm like, well, they gave me the stuff. I want to keep going. I want to keep going. So by the time my first goal was to get to 300 pounds, I got a bicycle. I love riding my bicycle. I got 2 boys that love riding it with me. We would go on bike rides all the time. When I got big again, we stopped riding, and it just wasn't feasible because I popped a couple tires or broke a couple rims just hitting a nice little dip. So I was like, let me keep going. Let's see where this goes. I'm going to join this competition as well. They're going to give me the stuff. Let's see if it actually works. So I took their pre-workout every day, their protein. Protein I was very big on. I made sure that this whole time I ate 200 grams of protein. I started counting my calories. That was something I always avoided. Like, oh, that's too much work. I'm never going to do that. That was the best thing I've done. I realized it's input versus output. It doesn't matter what you eat. It depends on how much you eat and, what your activity is. Everyone's different. That's why that 1,200 calories wasn't sustainable for me back in the day, because I was burning too much calories. So now I started to teach myself. I use ChatGPT to help me build meal plans. I found my TDEE, which is my total daily energy expenditure. How much energy I burn on a day-to-day basis just to live. And so I found out, I said, okay, well, I want to get to 225. How many calories should I eat a day? And it said 2,500. I'm like, okay. So I went to 2,200. I'm like, perfect. I'm going to go to 2,200. If I eat 2,200 calories every day, it could be whatever I want, I'll lose weight. So that's what I started at. And it just started anything extra I did, like go on bike rides, go on hikes, go fishing, it burnt more calories to where I didn't notice it. It fell off fast. That's how I lost it so fast in the first 75 days. It wasn't like I was starving myself. I was just going and living my life, having fun. So I just kept pushing through it. Like I said, we got through the first competition. The next competition started, I got down to 292. Like I said, my main goal was to get to 300 so I could start riding my bike. At 300, I got a new bike just to have a backup, and I started riding it. Last year I rode over 250 miles on it. I would go do my workout, and then after the gym for my cardio, I'd get on my bike and ride it for 30 miles, or not 30 miles, 30 minutes, which would be about 5 to 10 miles. It got more and more over time. And then my boys would join me. That third day on the first competition, my son, who's 13, he goes through the same weight issues I had. And he was like, Dad, can I go to the gym with you? I'm like, yeah, but I'm going to be very serious about this. It's not about who goes there and lifts the most weight. It's not a me versus you thing. It's a you versus you thing. It's not about lifting the most weight. I want you to work on form and doing it right so you don't hurt yourself. So it was very strict at first. And then 2 days later, he's like, Dad, but I want to eat with you now. I'm like, okay, now this is going to be another thing. I can't just have you eat this and then you go to a friend's house and just eat it all away. Well, he started at 180 and he ended that first competition with me around like 160, 165 at 13 years old. He started to learn. He taught himself how to eat. That was the main thing. I made sure that he knew what he was eating. Because at first it was, Dad, what can I eat? Dad, what can I eat? Dad, what can I eat? I'm like, no. You have to slow down a little bit. Like, let me teach you how to teach yourself. We found his number was 1,800 calories. So now you have 1,800 calories. Let's split it throughout the day. And he started making his lunch every day, taking to school and stuff like that. Now I did help a lot with the meal prep, and I would meal prep extra for him. And I used ChatGPT for a lot. ChatGPT was great. I would say, hey, I need to eat 2,500 calories. Yeah, you go ahead. You want to say something about it?
Yeah, I was just going to say we did an episode called the AI diet, which was using ChatGPT, and it was fantastic. Do you want to talk more about it, Darren? It was your baby, wasn't it? This.
Yeah. So no, I think you're right. Look, I use ChatGPT a lot, and I think it should never take away from human thinking. I think our brains are always far better than ChatGPT or any AI, and it will be for a long time. But where ChatGPT is really good is saving time, right? So at work I use it a lot, but I've started using it for diet as well. So you can, like you said, you can work out how many calories you should be eating. You can ask it. I go to the gym 3 times a week or whatever. I do this, I do that sort of exercise. How many calories should I be eating? How many macronutrients should I be aiming for? And then what I love about it is you can then say, well, based on that, then give me 20 diet ideas for meals during the week. Give me a shopping list at this supermarket that I shop in.
That's exactly what I did. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I do. So I said, I want to eat two meals a day and 2 snacks.
Yeah.
And now give me options. Do you want chicken, rice, and broccoli? Do you want this meal? Or I don't want this. It has fish in it. Okay. What about this? It would substitute meals that fit your macros.
Yeah.
And so then once I did that, I'm like, now give me the grocery list for the super Walmart or whatever grocery store. I would go get it, all the ingredients, and then come home and give me the prep guide. And I'd weigh everything out in grams. And it was simple. And it would take my 2,500 calories. And then I'd say, now do it for me and my son. And then it would tell me, for my portions, I need 200 grams of beef while he would only need 140 grams of beef. It would automatically, instantly do that. The hardest part I felt like my whole life, especially when it comes to counting calories, is all of that work, done instantly for you.
Yeah.
It helped tremendously.
Definitely. And it must be nice, Halston, just before, because I feel like you're only halfway through this. Like you've still got a lot of catch up to. But before we go on, like another thing that we've talked about in the past is that we're men, me and Mark in our 40s. We've got children as well, so all three of us here are fathers. And one of my concerns certainly is that my bad habits get passed down to my children. It's always been something that's been on my mind, and then when you were talking about that, it was just like, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Because look, no one wants to be obese, right? It's horrible, isn't it? Let's be honest. I hated being obese. I hated being overweight. So yeah, that's great. And and I love the fact that you're saying as well, is that you're not just saying to him, eat this, eat that, eat that. And actually, my son's probably a bit younger. But when you were talking, I was like, that's what I'm guilty of. I've got to stop doing that. I've got to teach him how to do it now whilst he still can build that habit. But that must be a lovely thing to see your son succeed as well, almost better than seeing it in yourself in a weird way.
It made the first competition so much easier because I wasn't just doing it by myself or just for myself. I was doing it for us. I was helping him generational change, something that like my mom struggled with to teach us. I came from a single mom who was gone all the time. We lived off food stamps. I was a middle child. We're conditioned at a young age to eat off our emotions. Happy birthday. Here's cake. Yeah. Someone dies, you go to a funeral, you eat. Your boyfriend, girlfriend breaks up with you, you eat. I was a middle child. My mom was always gone at work. I always felt like I was getting bullied or from my brothers or anything. So I always ate off my emotion. Once I stopped eating off my emotion and starting to eat to fuel my body, my life completely changed.
That is so true.
And that was last year,
Yeah. And emotional eating is such a big thing.
I think exercise is really important in that because I find that I have much more focus on that when I go to the gym. If I don't go to the gym, I kind of lose that a little bit. But when you've got, so for example, tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., I will be at the gym. So I know tonight, if I sit there and eat, I don't know, a big bag of chocolate or something like that, that's going to hit me tomorrow hard because I'm not fueling my body. So yeah, it's really true. A really good point there.
So let's take it back a bit, Halston. What were you like as a child? You mentioned you've been obese since the age of 12. Was there anything that sort of triggered that, or where were you sort of in your childhood?
No. So great question. Yeah, like I said, very good question. So I was born with a birth defect. It was called aortic stenosis. My aortic valve, they said I had a valve of an 80-year-old. It was a bicuspid valve. The leaflets on my valve fused together over time. And they told me eventually I would have to have open heart surgery. So I used that as an excuse for everything. I can't go do this because, my heart. I remember they said when I was 4 years old, I was running around daycare and all of a sudden I just passed out. And my mom took me and that's how they found out that I had this birth defect. And then every year after that, I had to get checked up and they told me, you're going to have open heart surgery one day. And I was terrified my whole life of, man, I can't do this. And I could play football, American football. I remember playing 5th and 6th grade football. I loved football. And then I got into middle school and then they were like, you can't play high school because if you get hit hard enough, you can die. So I'm like, "Ah." So I always use that as a crutch. That and with everything else I said, a mom that worked all the time that was gone, I ate a lot off my emotions. I found excuses and used that as the biggest excuses. I can't do it because I have a bad heart. Um, man, was I wrong. I was I had open heart surgery November of 2021. At the time I was just a single father of 2 boys. I had full custody of my 2 boys. And I remember like when I found out, like I was crying, like, what am I going to do with like my boys? Like, how are they going to carry on? Like, I'm going to die. I've been waiting for this moment my whole life. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. And I remember crying every day, but what it did is it made me unstoppable. After I had heart surgery, as soon as I had heart surgery, the first day I stood up the next day. I started walking. I remember walking around the table as soon as I got home every day. I remember walking a block away the first week after I got home to get a haircut. I remember I finally felt like I was living again. I never felt, I didn't know I was dying until after I had heart surgery. That's how bad I was slowing down. And so, like I said, I used that as a crutch my whole life, and it just set me up to succeed. I feel like I have my life finally. Like I'm a new me. Like I'm unstoppable. Like it's wild. Now I did, like that was in 2021. After surgery, I was at 350 when I had heart surgery. I got down to 280. I was doing a keto diet. I was doing great on this keto diet, and then I almost lost my gallbladder. I went from 350 to 280 in like 9 months. I was doing very good. And then all of a sudden, like I started getting sharp pains in my stomach. I had to go to the hospital, and I was there for 3 days. They didn't have me eat anything. They ran a bunch of tests on me. I was having problems I was consuming too much fat, and they just told me, like, hey, you can't do the keto diet. I guess it's a very common thing for people to lose a lot of weight really fast. They have some issues with their gallbladder or kidneys and stuff like that. So that scared me. I just got in a relationship again, and I was like, I kind of pushed that back. I moved out to the country. We Brady bunched in. We got 5 kids. We got a farm. We got chickens, goats, turkeys. We moved out into the country where now I'm away from the gym. So I started, where I'm happy. I'm cooking. I love to cook. The kids love it, and and that's how I went from 280 back up to 350. And that's where I ended back in November of 2024. And that's where I was like, hey, I got to do something because it's getting bad again. And that's where we reset it all. But this time I wanted to do it right. I wanted to do, after I couldn't get the shot, I was like, let's do it right this time. So in May of last year, I went to the doctor and had them, when I was at 280 again, I had them run tests, and blood tests came back perfect. My cholesterol was perfect because I was doing it right this time. I wasn't just eating meat only and high fats. I was eating a well-rounded meal. I was counting my calories. And that was the biggest savior for me, probably, was the calorie counting. And it's like I said, it's been up and down my whole life.
It's amazing. So you moved from the city to the country, and does that help you be more active then? Like, obviously, because you said that you're really into like your cycling and stuff.
Well, no, it was the opposite for me. When I moved out to the country, the gym went from being a mile away to now it's 15 miles away. I work from home, so it was like, oh, I can take a lunch break, go to the gym, I can't do that. I don't have enough time. So that's where I kind of slipped up. That's how I gained all that weight right back, because I was at home. I was sitting around more. Now I did get chickens and goats and stuff, and like I stopped going on bike rides. That was another thing. I moved out into the country. I quit going on bike rides, and that's when I gained all the weight back.
Yeah.
It was opposite, but now it's a lot different.
Yeah.
Like, I'm always outside. I got goats and chickens. I'm always out there playing with them every day. I got a bike that can go down the gravel road better. And then honestly, I just throw it in the back of my truck and I'll drive to town, park there, and just drive around the town. Whatever works now. I'm ready to go now.
And like the other thing is as well, is that you said about like you love cooking, because I'm a bit of a secret chef as well, to be quite honest. Like I enjoy my cooking. But I actually find that it's more fun cooking when you're eating fresh, eating well, eating better. It's just, you just gotta be creative with it a little bit, and I don't know. I think you enjoy. I do genuinely believe you enjoy your food more when you're making with fresh ingredients.
Right. And so that's what helped me around this time around was I could eat whatever I wanted as long as I stayed within those 2,200 calories. And so that made it easier. Before I was on a keto diet, you couldn't have nothing sweet. You couldn't have no carbs. Once you had a carb, that messed up your ketosis. While as I could eat whatever I wanted as long, but I did have a rule like for myself as I was eating 200 grams of protein every day. I wanted to go to the gym. I wanted to gain muscle. I hit 200 grams of protein every single day. So if I wanted something, I would make stuff. Now we are very lucky. Like we have protein breads and protein wraps. So I would get these things called Joe's Lavish wraps, and it was mostly fiber and protein. And I could make chicken wraps or turkey wraps. And then I would get these Quest chips that were processed protein. They're a protein chip. And now with this wrap and chips, it would be like 40 to 50 grams of protein. And so those small things, and then I could add a bunch of apples. If I wanted to binge eat, that was another thing at first is, when we get used to like, oh, I need to really just binge eat strawberries. Strawberries, there's 6 calories in each strawberries. You can get a whole container of strawberries and it's 250 calories. You could eat the whole thing and be full as a tick. And just be like, oh, bloated, not want to move. Broccoli, cauliflower. Once I found ways like, they're good with garlic pepper and cooked in the oven, then boom, I could eat as much of that as I wanted. If I want there for a while, I wanted pasta. How can I incorporate pasta? Well, so I got the zucchini noodles. I learned how to do them the right way. I took a fresh zucchini, chopped it up into long strips, and I would saute that in a little bit of olive oil and garlic pepper. Take that out, add 45 calories of a red sauce or a white sauce. And now I have a basic pasta. I could throw in as much protein as I want, turkey burger or chicken. And then I could take that protein bread, throw a little garlic salt and maybe a little Parmesan cheese. And I got garlic bread once I put it in the oven. So I could still have pasta and stuff like that fit around my macros. It was just, I had to become creative. I started healthifying things that I craved. Those same wraps I used for the chicken wraps, I would make flatbread pizzas. I would get those, make their 100 calories, and then I would do a 45 calories for the red sauce. 17 turkey pepperonis was 90 calories, I think. And then a little bit of low-fat mozzarella, put it in the oven. Now I got a pizza. So I just found different ways. I call it I'd healthify meals that I was really craving.
I love that. Healthify. We're going to use that. I know we're going to use that on this podcast again. We'll credit you for it. But yeah, like I said, we spoke to you beforehand. We do Man v Fat, our sponsor, and that gamifies weight loss through football. Yeah. But I like the idea we can now healthify our food. We're craving sort of a large portion of something. We can healthify it. Yeah. What do you reckon, Darren?
I think that's great, mate. I think we should have a competition. I think we should somewhere online create like a healthify site where you like make a really healthy meal. You put the recipe on and you teach others and it's almost like a competition. Who can make, you vote for it. Who's got the best meal here? Because I love that, and I think a lot of us just enjoy being creative in the kitchen, right? And to be honest, when you were talking, I was like, I've just had my dinner, and I'd eat that now. Sounded amazing.
Now I did at first I did push a lot of the processed proteins, whatever was available, whatever worked best, because like I said, we're all about convenience. That's why we ate fast food all the time. It's quick, it's easy. We like that the most. So you have to find ways that you can still be quick and easy at things. So I did eat a lot of wraps, a lot of sandwiches. I'd take apples, cut them up, those protein chips, protein bars, protein shakes. I was very big, whatever works, whatever's going to get me to that 200 grams of protein every day. I could eat whatever I wanted. The protein bars they taste like candy bars nowadays. Like they're so good. It's so bad. Barbells. I don't know if you guys have barbells over there. They're so good. But I know you guys probably don't have a lot.
We've got grenade. So I had a grenade bar after the gym earlier, actually, and they're really chocolatey. They're quite low in sugar, but really, I think 20 grams of protein in a single bar, and it tastes just like you eating. There's a slight difference, but
there's that protein, talk, but compared to what it is or compared to what you're craving, it gets you there. The caramel, that overshadows most of it. It helps you get past that craving that you really want to curb. And so that's what really helped. I would find those things and eat those. And another thing, I went on several vacations last year. I went several trips. I went and seen several concerts. We were gone for, I think, 10 days in Lake of the Ozarks, this giant, like, little Missouri Vegas, and with the kids, and we were going everywhere. They went out and ate all the time, and I took meal plans. I prepped. You have to prepare for those things. You're going on trips, prepare. Take wraps, take extra protein chips, take those things so you don't mess up. You can splurge here and there. I ate out. So I ate fast food or at a restaurant 15 times last year. And that's it. And I'm talking about, I used to eat it almost every night, like 15 times. And most of the times I did eat, the next day I felt horrible. Like my stomach hurt, the grease, like it was horrible. But I think that really helped me. Like I cooked 99% of my meals at home. If it wasn't like cooked, it was wraps or some type of processed protein. Now, they say that you can't gain, that processed protein isn't as good. You can't gain muscle from it. You also can't gain muscle while being in a deficit. Well, I'm living proof. I gained a lot of muscle last year, a lot, and while being in a deficit the whole time. Now, recently, 4 weeks ago, I did switch to only whole foods just because I'm training, but we can talk a little bit about that in a little bit. But you do what works best for you. Everyone's different. You got to find easy. That protein bar is going to be better than that candy bar every day, for you. Because that protein's going to keep you saturated. It's going to keep you full longer. It's going to make you feel better.
It's just starting, isn't it? Just start. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
You need that start.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's making progress. Like I said, you've gone from eating fast food or eating candy bars, chocolate bars, to eating a protein bar. It may not be as good as eating a piece of steak, but it's a move in the right direction. And let's just aim for improvement rather than just aim for to be immaculate and be perfect right from the start. It's not always easy. Just aim to do better, I think, is probably the lesson there, wouldn't you say?
Yes. Oh, hands down. So one of my favorite sayings is small changes turn into life changes. And that's a real thing. Once you start making those small substitutes, like it goes quick. The fat falls off fast. You've started so I really like to cook. So I know grilled chicken. And so I smoked a lot of chicken. I did chicken breast and chicken thighs. Chicken thighs taste 1,000 times better than my smoked chicken breast, but the thighs are more fattier. I would have to eat smaller portions. So that's where you start to say, okay, I can eat more of this thing, but less of this. But if I'm really craving something like this, it's okay to have it. I just got to have smaller of it. Those are those small changes that you have to make. And that's everything. Sides. Instead of eating the macaroni and cheese, you go for the green beans. Those small changes add up over time, like so much.
So true. So true.
You must have seen a significant saving financially as well, because fast food and takeaways, I know that they're not the most, you can get them at a fairly reasonable price. I don't know what it's like in America.
But it was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
I kind of feel, I was talking to a friend the other day and I said, I'm eating healthy and he almost said, I can't afford to do that. And you think, so you can, if you stop eating out 3 times a week, you quite easily afford another £50-60 or $78, whatever that is, each shop.
And ChatGPT. So just like we was talking about earlier, you can tell ChatGPT that make this meal plan under $200 for the week. Or $150, and it'll give you a bunch of options. Okay, you might have to substitute down, like you might have to eat some can of tunas and some rice, a little bit more of that, but you can make it feasible. So you don't always have to say, it's too expensive. No, you can. It's how much are you willing? How bad do you want it? Are you ready to change? That's what it is. Because if you want it, you'll make those small substitutes here and there.
Yeah, and I think. Sorry, I think that's funnily enough, it is the excuses that stop us, isn't it? Right, and like my gym instructor says, that if you can't find 3 hours a week to get into a gym, then you are definitely the busiest person that any of us know. Like, you know, we can all find 3 hours in a week to get into a gym, right? And it's the same with food. Yeah, I think we always look for excuses when we're not truly bought into doing something.
Definitely. You talk about saying it's about wanting to make a change and it's about really wanting it. What was it that made you really want it?
It was that basketball game. It really was. Me going up that stairs. I remember clear as day, standing up and getting lightheaded, like, man, something's not right. You know, I have to make this change. I love my kids. I love going to their basketball games. I love supporting them. You know, that I'm their man, you know, like they need me, you know. So that was the biggest, like, that's why I went to the doctor to get the drug, you know, because I wanted to be around, you know, like I knew that I had to make that change because I have a metal heart valve, you know. I ain't going to last forever, but you know, I'm already digging my hole if I'm going to keep going where I'm at. The heavy breathe, I could barely get up off the ground, you know. That was my big change. Like, that, and then, like I said, I started the competition. Then my son joined it. You know, boom, my number one inspiration again. You know, my family was very supportive of it all. So that was it, and it always will be. You know,
Definitely.
now it's changed over time because so in, like, let's get back to in April, I joined 292. I got down to 292. They started this 10,000 or this summer shred 60 days. Summer shred. I'm like, I want to do this again, you know, but I want to win this one. You know, I want to give it my all. They gave me the stuff. They gave me the pre-workout, the protein. I'm going to hit everything perfect because my first 75 days, I did really well. I'd say I was about 90% into it. I might have had a cheat day here or there, or I might have missed a gym a couple here and there. But this time, you know, I got third place. I should have won. I felt like, you know, I want to win, you know, so I went into it. Like I said, by the time the competition started, I was down to 292. So I joined it. And then that was in April. And then May, I saw this video of this guy named Simon, Goliath_GG. And he told this bodybuilder lady that, hey, I'm going to lose 150 plus pounds and do a bodybuilding show next year. And I watched his whole documentary. He did it in a year, and it clicked like, wait a second, I can do that. And it really took me back to when I was about 10 years old. A bus came and picked us up and took us to this church. And when I was there, they had these bodybuilders up there and they were folding pans in half and ripping these phone books in half. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. But I was fat and I never thought I could do that. And my heart, I'm like, oh, that's something I could never do. Well, that guy just showed me it was possible. That, wait, it didn't matter that he did it. Why can't I do it? I looked up his numbers. Wait, I'm further in the process than he was at the time during. I'm like, I can do this. So I set a list of goals in May. First goal was 300 pounds, of course. And then I wanted to get to 250. I thought it'd be cool to lose 100 pounds in a year. I did that on June 22nd. And then I was like, wait, what about 225? That was my high school weight. I was a fat kid, like I said, in high school, but still everybody wants to be their high school weight.
Yeah.
So I want to do that. I want to see abs. I never had abs ever in my life. I want to see my abs. So that was my next goal. And then my final main goal was to do a show. I never loved my body. I have never loved my body. I want to be able to go on stage and show off my body enough, love my body enough to show it off. And so I set those goals and I set up a couple sub goals. I wanted to do a wide grip pull-up. I've never been in my life been able to do a wide grip pull-up. Now, there for a while when I got a little healthier back in the day, I could do pull-ups like this, but that's mostly biceps. I wanted to do a wide grip pull-up, something that I remember in PE that everyone got to do besides me. I was just hanging there by myself and I could never just pull it up just a little bit. And so I set those goals in May. June came around, the end of the 60 days, I lost 45 more pounds. So I lost 103 pounds in the first 145 days. I won the competition. I won $10,000.
Nice.
Oh, fantastic.
I was excited, but I still didn't feel like accomplished yet. Like I was proud of myself, but I'm not done. You know, like I wasn't done, you know? So with that in mind, I'm like, okay, well, let's just keep going. You know, let's see if I can get to 225 by the end of the year. I got to 225 on November 8th. So I just kept pushing. September 3rd is when I did my first wide grip pull-up. So I went to the bathroom and cried as soon as I did it, you know, because I was so accomplished. How I got my wide grip pull-up is I remember every back day I would go in there and it was 100 pounds assistance. Boom, 100 pounds. I did it twice. The next back day, I went down to 85, did it twice. And every week for like 8 weeks, I kept going up the chain till I got to 10 pounds. And I tried to do the 10 pounds, but it wasn't like strong enough. And I kind of half did it. I'm like, okay. So I was like, what I want to do is I went back to 25 pounds for the next 2 weeks. Then that following, was it September 3rd, I went in there and I did my first wide grip pull up. Like I said, I went straight to the bathroom and cried because I was so proud of myself. I felt accomplished. And since then, I've been on a roll. So I heard about the summer shredding. That's the competition that Simon did. I'm like, well, I want to do that, so I signed up for it. I got a show on June 13th in Houston, Texas. And I think they had the open signups on Black Friday. I bought it instantly. I waited until it came out and I bought it instantly because now it's out there, and since then I've gotten down to 200 pounds. And right now, I got a coach last month, IFBB professional coach. He's a professional bodybuilder. He's walking me through right now. I'm going through a maintain for the next 6 weeks. And then after those 6 weeks, I'm going to cut for 16 weeks. And then I did good enough to go to the show. I feel like right now I did good enough to where I can go on the show. But I want to get past that. I got to better myself. I want a podium. Top 5 gets invited back to the championship show. I want to go podium. I want to get top 5 and go back, because this year at the championship show, the same person that taught me that it was possible is going to be at the championship show competing. I get to go against my Michael Jordan, my Tom Brady, the person that showed me it was possible. I'm all in. I am going to go podium, get top 5 and go against Goliath, Simon, just like David. I want to take Goliath down.
Yeah, I think that's really good. And I love your commitment. Like, you can see the passion and you can hear the passion, and I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm getting this wrong, but it feels to me like you had no belief when you started. And then as soon as you started to get those little ticks in the head, done that. Oh, I can do more. I can do more. And now, a year on, you almost think like any restriction there just seems to have vanished. Gone.
Yeah, I started changing the what if into when. I last year I started believing in myself. That's 100% right. I tell a lot of people that. Last year I realized I can do it. I can do whatever I want. A person that's always pushed himself down, like, oh, you can't do it because you're hard. You can't do it because you're fat. Like, no. You know who else had the same birth defect I had? 7-time Mr. Olympian Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Really?
He had the same exact birth defect. He went and won it 7 times before he had open heart surgery. He did it while he had a bad heart. Oh, I'm unstoppable now. I feel unstoppable, and I can't wait. That. Like, it's so cool.
Yeah. I think it's the mindset's changed from it's not what can go wrong. It's what can go right. Yeah. What can I do if I do this? Where can I go? And I think that's incredible, mate. I think the pattern here is, and what I keep seeing is, it's goal setting. And if it's that bit of advice for guys on this, is set a goal.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be a big one.
Hands down. Yes.
Start with a small goal. And I think that what I like about your story here, Halston, is it's just a series of goals. It's like, right, I want to get to this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get to this. Then I'm going to go to this. Now I'm going to go on a TV show and shred. I mean, could you articulate that any better? Is that it? Is it just a series of setting goals?
It really is. Like I said, my life's completely changed. I'm no longer the person I was before. That person is gone. Like, I am someone that's unstoppable. They say you're created in God's image. Is that, how strong we are? If that's true, like, I'm unstoppable. Like, that's how I feel now. And it's just so much fun. And plus I get to help so many more people. I don't have a big following. And the people that's reached out to me and my family and friends that are asking me for help or saying, hey, thank you so much. Hey, you motivate me. Like, an influencer changed my life. If I can help change one person's life, I won. I really did win. Mm. And I want to continue winning, like.
Sounds great. Yeah. I'm really chuffed for you. And I think that's great. Like, the fact that you've taken something extremely positive that's happened to you. And like you say, with the heart defect, I'll come on to that in a minute, but you've taken something really, positive that's happened to you, and you're like, actually, I want to give this to other people as well. Because I think as ex-obese people, should we say, we know how miserable that is and how horrible a place that is. And coming on to that, and this is kind of what I was going to say, is that I think the problem is when you've got that heart defect, when you've got, I've got a medical issue, nothing to do with the heart or anything like that, but something that perhaps stopped me for too long doing certain things. I think you get to a point where you're like, well, actually, look, I could do nothing with my life and perhaps live 5 years longer, right?
Yeah.
Why not live life to the full? And what happens, right? We can't change that, but why not make the most of the time we've got? Because it's a freak of nature we're even here. So let's do something special if we can.
Yeah, I haven't seen my heart doctor in a year. I see him Monday, so he's probably gonna shit his pants. I can't wait. Like, I've been ready for him to see him Monday. I did go see like a general doctor, like I said, back in May, and had to run blood tests and make sure everything came back great. But yeah, and I told him I was about 2 weeks into the thing. I'm like, hey, I'm about to lose a bunch of weight. You know how many times people said that, or most people that get so big, they don't come back. We did it. We surpassed that, because I'm from an area where when you see people get so big and they get down, they don't usually get back up, and they die quick. I have a lot to live for. When I had open heart surgery, one of the biggest things was I was kind of upset because they gave me a metal valve and I had to take blood thinners in. They didn't give me a PICC valve. And if they would have given me a PICC valve, I wouldn't have had to worry about blood thinners and stuff like that, thin blood. But he told me that the PICC valves are for people at the end of their lives, while this metal valve is for people still at the beginning of their lives. And that was the best choice for me because, I've just started my whole new life, so that's how I look at it. Like,
brilliant.
Wow.
I love that. And so let's talk about things that you can do now that you couldn't do when you were obese. I know you like basketball. Tell me about that.
So, the biggest, let's come full circle. The biggest reason I went to the doctor was because I couldn't go to my son's basketball game. 2 weeks ago, I was playing full court basketball with some middle schoolers, my son being one of them. That's full circle. The main reason I went to the doctor was because I couldn't walk up the stairs to watch my son play basketball. And 2 weeks ago, we're at the YMCA playing basketball. I'm running full court up and down the court with him. I outscored him. I had like 12 points. We lost by 2 points, but I'm telling you right now, I had 12 of those points, and those middle schoolers were getting beat up by me. I'm 36 years old and I was putting it on them, but I can do so much more. Oh, this summer when we went on vacation, there was roller coasters I could ride that I wouldn't have been able to ride if I would have went 6 months before. There's rides like that. So many options. I go on bike rides now with the kids a lot more. It's just so many things that I can do now that I couldn't have done. Like I'm going outside, running around with my animals just to run, with them, mess with them. I got a couple goats. They're funny. And so I'm always chasing them around the house, them or the turkeys. So
I guess it just makes life easier as well. Having lost that weight to do all those things, it's just so much easier, isn't it? And when it gets easier, then it makes you want to do more of it.
Oh yeah. So we started going on hikes. So like that, like I go on a lot of hikes when it's nice. Right now it's cold. So we don't get to do much. It's freezing, snowing all the time. But, we started going on hikes a lot more. That's one of our vacations. Last summer, we went to Tonka State Park and we went on a couple hikes there, things that I normally wouldn't have done, or couldn't have done. I'm trying to think because there was so much. Like, you're limited. Once you're 350 pounds, you are very limited. Last year I was shopping. I wore size 4XL. There is nowhere to buy 4XL. I live in a small town and we have a Walmart, and mostly the stuff that they'll sell is like 2 to 3X, and sometimes they'll have 4X, but it's always the worst quality. It's very loose. It looks the most terrible. I remember the year before last, I did go to the Kansas City or St. Louis, and they had this thing called DXL. It's double XL is the name, but our DXL but double XL is what it stands for. It's for big people. It's a store for big people. And I was so excited because I got a nice shirt. And I was thinking like, man, that's bad that I have to go. This is the only place I can go and get big clothes. And is that how I really want to live? And now I can go shop anywhere. I wear size large. I probably wear a medium if I tried. If I wear size large, I went from 48 pants to I wear 32s. Like 32s. And a large shirt. I can shop anything. Fundraisers. I can buy shirts from fundraisers or anything. And, before it was, they might have 2X top. Well, 2X is way too tight on me. I couldn't do that. So like there's a bunch of like little things that really, really change, that makes life so much easier because like I said, being big sucks. Like it's terrible.
Being big sucks. It absolutely does.
And people think that it's like, it's really it's a mind game that you really have to get out. And it's not an easy mind game. It's like an addiction, it's very hard. Like I didn't want to be big. You guys didn't want to be big. We were just coping or getting by, it was really hard to dig up out of that. I had to really rewire my brain and think differently and eat differently and change my life.
It is. We've referred to it a few times and talked about it being addiction, and maybe we do or we don't compare it to alcohol, being an alcoholic. It's that feeling that even now there's a fat guy inside of us who's bursting to get out, and it's almost a case of just we need to stay on top of it, whatever, because if we just let go, those old habits will die hard, and we're back in the 2XL, 3XL, 4XL, because we just let that habit get back in. And it's just keeping that accountability, keeping mindful that yes, things are great now and I've lost the weight, but if I don't keep my head in the game, then I'll fall back into those habits.
And I'll never go back.
Do you know what? Like, we'll. I've got a question for you to sort of finish up in a bit. But what I love about this episode, Halston, is the start of this conversation was I went to the doctor to get GLP-1, and I couldn't get it. And as a result of that, you made lifestyle changes, which is so much better over the long term than taking GLP-1.
Yeah.
Almost one of the best things that's ever happened to you in a weird way.
Yeah, hands down, for sure.
Yeah.
Because I taught myself how to eat properly. A lot of people that have problems with the GLP-1s, if forget the side effects is once they're used to that shot all the time and they stop taking it, it comes right back and they blow right back up, just like every other fad diet, the keto diet, the whatever diet, there's been several diets throughout the years, the 1200 calorie diet. You have to train yourself. You have to rewire yourself. Everyone's different. You got to find out what works best for you. I'm all for that, but you have to train yourself to eat right, plain and simple. And I'm glad I did. Like I said, same reason I'm glad I didn't win the Tesla. I really am. Like, it's a lot to say, it's a $46,000 prize, but I'm so blessed I didn't win that.
Yeah, because you would have just, that was been it then. You'd have just sort of copped out there and said, well, I've won the prize. That's
more than
me
likely.
done.
Who knows? But yeah, more than likely. Everything else, the same way. And when you said earlier, I remember about 6 months ago, I told my girlfriend, I was like, I don't know if I was crying at the time or just be like, I feel like this muscle man trapped in this fat body. And then about a month ago, she goes, hey, and she brought it up. She goes, do you still feel like that? I'm like, no, because I am him, like, and it's so cool because like I ain't perfect. I got loose skin still, but it beats where I was, I'm so much happier and my shadow looks so cool and I look really cool. Like I got muscles and I'm starting and eventually it'll be just fine. I don't care. I am happier. I'm going to live longer, I can't wait.
Yeah. Stronger. So kind of moving on towards the sort of tying this up, I suppose the natural question would be, is if you could speak to yourself 6 months before you started your weight loss journey then, so about 1.5 years ago now, what would you say to yourself to sort of encourage you?
Ooh, that's tough. That's a good one. That's a good one, Darren. It's possible. It really is. When you start believing in yourself is when it really takes off. That's what did it for me. When I started believing in myself, that's what really took off. You know, at first it was like, yeah, I might be able to do this. You stop asking if, and start showing action.